If everything goes to plan, Rumble is the last ban here. Let's see if trends hold, because that is a Silas ban instead of the Malphite, which typically means you want to open with Malphite and then probably EDG will respond with Mundo jungle if global meta thinking is the continued case for this game, as LPL loves this first pick Malphite.
They do, and it is not banned away, and there you go. It's locked in, so they'll get the Malphite coming in for Guwon, potentially, instead of Xiaohao, and see what NIP do with this pick.
I look through, I see the champions. I also don't mind Trundle. That's a very good one that we could see. It's something that Xiaohao has piloted with proficiency. Yep, these are the two champions. You pick one, or if you're really feeling yourself, both into Malphite, and he has a terrible time. That is not one of them. Do not do that. I know we don't like talking about hovers generally, but bad Xiaohao. Just because you played a good game doesn't mean you get to play Kiana into Malphite.
Well, hey, we do get the tried and true Mundo, so that'll be interesting. They also have a lot of scaling already in their first two picks for EDG, and just going to have kind of beefy bodies, if you will, on that squad so far. Ooh, the Ambessa for Hoya into the Casio. So top trio already locked in for NIP.
And you know what? Mundo, not a champion that punishes Casio very well. How do you get on top of Cassio's Mundo? You run at her. What does Casio love when people do? People running at her. So I think NIP is looking very happy with this first 3 rotation, as we do now see what does EDG want to respond with. EDG did play a bit of Zehen during the Demacia Cup, and we know how bad it does into Kennen. However, Ambessa does have to fight you in melee range, so I don't think that Hoya will be able to get away with as dominant of a lane phase as we saw 369 get over this champion earlier today.
Yeah, you know, I'm just hoping we see a better performance on the side. I got to see Xiaohao last night, and I got to see whatever the hell that was earlier today. But, you know, we'll see as we go into the second phase. It is going to be the Nautilus focus for EDG, so they're going to take away some of that supportive pool. We'll see what NIP want to focus on.
I'm looking at this right now, and I'm thinking you probably don't want the Leona getting through if you're NIP. I think that can make Care's life quite difficult. We look over to the other side. Civ is something that I think should be on the table for both teams right now, because there's a lot of dashing that is going to go on, but it's, for at least EDG's squad, mostly running at you. And the Sivir can both avoid the Malphite ultimate, provided you don't get your spell shield smited away. That's kind of a reaction check between the jungler and the ADC. Winner takes it all in that instance, very much so. But I think that being able to run at the other team, particularly when there's a Casio in the game, is going to be pivotal. Min-maxing on the movement speed, regardless of whether it comes from support or AD, is going to be very important. As now we get the final ban. It will be the Ezreal, actually, one of those champions that's much safer against the snap engage of the Malphite Ambessa.
Yeah, just trying to take away any safe options there for Leave. He's going to have a similar performance to his game number 1. He will be the final pick, it looks like, here for EDG.
Varus is open.
You know, funny enough, he's going to have counter pick.
Yeah, Varus open, Ziggs open. Like, these are immobile champions. That's the thing. A lot of the champions that beat Casio lose to Malphite, and that's the really unique situation that EDG have been put into here by NIP's draft. I don't mind the Kai'Sa here. You've got full dive. I think Assum's got a chance to redeem himself on this one, as now there's a lot of potential pairings up right now. The Rakan, it's not one you really love into the Alistar, but it is fantastic with the rest of the comp. So I think, yeah, they're going to be very happy with that one. Probably the Varus.
Varus is banned, unfortunately.
Oh, sorry, yes.
Yeah.
Probably... That wasn't what I was thinking. I was thinking Sivir. If you pick Neela, that's incredible. I would love that. But yeah.
Nah, it's gotta go with the Sivir. So they're going with, this time, a full scaling comp, it feels like, for EDG. Just really trying to hold on as best they can while NIP tries to figure out what advantages they can find.
A bit of a role swap with how the two comps are going to go about this game. NIP wanting some more proactive tools, and they did a full pivot away from the Game 1 draft. They have got plenty of ways to get on top of you. Angel, going to have a tough time is all I'm going to say. He's got a brutal lane matchup. Junglers, do not help you whatsoever on either side. Post level 6, you are terrified of Malphite landing on you. Pre-level 6 and onwards, Mundo's not going to do a lot. Very easy Landry's angle for Care as well. So I don't know. I think EDG are going to have to really show their stuff to be able to fight their way out of this one. NIP, if they can play with a lead and generate it in the first place off the back of the jungle, I love their chances.
Yeah, I've been really appreciating proactive drafts in this meta. It feels like, yes, you can't always have that scaling, but it just feels like, especially in the LPL, those proactive drafts, the things that you give yourselves options early to have action is so, so crucial. And I'm glad that we're seeing that swap up for NIP to kind of have that iteration of themselves coming into this second game. Because again, this is the first time we're seeing this team in the regular season of the LPL, and they're already showing some flexibility, at least execution barring that.
We'll have to see, because again, I think short of not warding the bush level 3, I don't hate NIP's execution in the first game, which is crazy to say when there was a 10k gold lead at like 20 minutes or so. But I think that this team can have legs. They do have Cassio, she can buy boots now, so let's see if that's enough to change it up.
Does that mean she has legs? Who knows? We'll let the decision be made on Summoner's Rift. We're getting game 2 of EDG versus NIP. There we go. We're getting settled in now.
I was a little scared there. I was like,
ooh,
when's it gonna start?
The spellbook Malphite.
I like that. Yeah. I like that.
You sure? You sure?
Yeah, I had to think about it.
Sure?
I'm not a fan of the... Oh, wait.
Dude, Leave and Parukia just say, oh, we've bullied this guy before. We'll take his lunch money again. I don't think it's going to go as easy this time.
No, Assum not flinching on that one. Does ghost, but will be able to walk away on a pretty even health point. It's going to be just, once again, rushing for that level 2 now. Alistair, not a champion without... Oh my god, that is crazy.
Parukia wanted that knock up. He doesn't. I'm getting it. They're going to get the move right. No! The miscommunication between the EDG bot lane. They still went out on the trade heftily with those ricochets.
Nah, Parukia's crazy, actually. Like, that was incredible. I was about to say, Alistair is useless with just knock up and no flash, and then he just charges Hex Flash in the middle of the wave?
Bro, the second coming of Mako, and he's on EDG now, so there you go. He's got the track record in. Now he just needs to play like 9 more years on EDG.
So you're saying there's a chance that the path has started, and now roaming around, he's going to look for a play on mid. I love this. This is amazing.
See how active he can be. Again, he was a massive star for us on the broadcast in 2025. Figuring out what this guy can do, his decision-making in fights was incredible for such a young player. Love to see him getting active early. We are going to see the jungles finish off their clears. They will both be going for that bottom side. Maybe a little bit of an invade from EDG.
Very least, it's going to be a Scuttle Crab defense.
Oh, Guwon, you know, right? You know, right? Like, you know they're there. All right.
But Assum does get to walk up from the bottom side of the river, so this is dangerous.
Oh, they're going to take the engage on Assum. Okay. Some nice plasma stacks going through. A little bit of a speed up. Oh, he gets out of that one, but Parukia will get flashed on by Assum and gets the kill. First blood for the ninjas in pajamas.
Okay, off of what could have been a devastating series of events, Guwon actually flashed forward and did not win the smite fight against Xiaohao on the Scuttle Crab. So it was just about chasing down that kill. Does end up happening, and it leaves it in a weird lane state as Assum, I think they're just going to say, alright, Sivir, shove the wave in, do the Sivir thing. Zhuo can hold the wave for me, and then I'll be back with decent itemization. Some attack speed going to be very important to stack up that Kai'Sa passive. Pretty much the key to winning any trades in this bottom lane will be knock up into Kai'Sa passive, so the faster we can get that done, the better for NIP. As now, we kind of enter into a bit of a lull state until we hit level 6, and until the supports get their flashes back, importantly, as well. Those are the two big things, as Guwon, once it hits 6 minutes, will be able to tag over to different summoner spells. Interesting that we don't have Spellbook from either of the supports this game, because generally Rakan and Alistair have been two of the big users of it.
So what do you think Guwon goes for? What is his goal with this spellbook?
I'm a personal enjoyer of swapping to teleport and teleporting behind the lane for a flank.
Angel trying to get the all in. I don't know if he's got enough damage though. The point, he sidesteps it, gets the flash out of Care.
That was fantastic. If you don't sidestep that, I'm pretty sure Care could DPS you down in time. But now, left under attack, Angel could flash the trade here. It would definitely be a trade of kill rather than a kill on. So
he's staying so long. Guwon's going to go for the long con here. Angel still does have his flash. He should be fine, but the push is going to come through to get Care a quick back.
This is good help from his jungler. Not exactly the carry card champion we expected to see Guwon on coming into the game, but is having an important impact early on. Not afraid to force the ticket and bail his mid laner out of what could have been a truly dire situation there. Now we see taking over to the top side. A lot of standardized skirmishing. ZDZ is taking a big lead in the farm department.
Yeah,
already effectively up a kill's worth of gold. And getting extra CS, particularly with the lane quests, very important. Very important to keep tagging over and get that XP lead faster to snowball ahead.
And, I mean, this Zahen champion just gets ridiculous as time goes on in the game, so I'm really watching out for that. And EDG's goal as a whole is to scale into this game. Although they are going to start up the Dragon first. It is pushing power by NIP that's going to come back to them. See if they want to fully commit here. Level 6s are completed for mid lane. And Dragon has reset there, but the fight continues. Leave is here in a fight against Assum, but he does lose that 1v1 with the plasma stacks and the lethal tempo coming through. It's going to be a lot of damage from Assum, and that's exactly what you expect from an LPL Kai'Sa. Realm Warp going to come in. That's going to bring a double trio, at least now coming in for an engage on Assum, and Assum just stayed a little bit too long. The tempo play from Angel gets them a kill.
Very good Roman collection. It's off the back of getting that mid lane
Grim Deliverance. Oh, I thought he wanted the kill.
Good buffer, good buffer. It's enough to get Hoya out of the play with some level of safety. Care will be able to knock down a play in the middle lane, but I think you're more than happy with swinging the lead in that bottom side, keeping Assum down on this Kai'Sa. Somebody who could really, really run over fights if given the chance. And to pivot over to the Malphite, you're asking about the spellbook. This, what he has got right now, Exhaust. I think one of the biggest problems of this Malphite jungle is if you're asked to be the primary tank of the team, you don't get the gold to get it done. So you need to be a utility tank, because normally we see Malphite press R, go in, do nothing from that point onwards, really. The PTA gives him the chance to skirmish, and it does okay into low damage comps, but it's not really enough. Going for this Zeke's Herald route, which we'll be picking up quite shortly. It's a very cheap item. With the ultimate haste it got given on the new patch, it's very, very good for Malphite to start off. It does make him a bit of a utility champion, but with the spellbook you can pick up things like Exhaust to really mitigate ZDZ in these fights, Ignite to chuck on that Zehen or on that Mundo to cut away the healing, and again, teleport is always an option if you wanted to go for a flank play onto a side lane. So I think this is a very good game for the spellbook on the Malphite on the scale of things, and it's just about the execution on it, because if you use spellbook well, fantastic. If you don't, it does nothing.
Now we've got a couple lane states coming up to influence these objectives, because both objectives are on the map now at the same time. Grubs has spawned on top side, Dragon on bot side. Look where these junglers are, though. It's a little bit of a tempo potentially in favor of EDG. I really think that Guwon's going to move down after this, seeing that Xiaohao is down here. We might just have a kickoff around this dragon, but it's still a position for NIP that we want them to be proactive. We said it from the draft. I mean, this scaling for EDG is insane, and while there is some good scaling on the side of NIP, we want to see them active.
Alright, that is just a ghost trade from both mid laners. Very respectful from Care, backing off as soon as Angel postures forward. Guwon does have the completed Zeeks in inventory right now, so if he gets on top of you, you kind of need to flash away, because, yeah.
He's going to go straight on top of him now. Gets the flash out of Xiaohao. Xiaohao can't really walk away with that exhaust being thrown at him, but he will just have his blazer taken away from him for a quick few moments. Come right back, and Meanwhile, EDG were getting a bunch of money on bot side for leave on these plates.
And I kind of want that to turn to Dragon, to be honest. You really do want to get the Mundo Flash and then do something with it, because now Xiaohao, no slouch, runs straight over to the Grubs to go collect that one. Another trade top. Deja vu.
Yep, we've seen this again.
Pretty much a standard issue. That is how you survive as the Ambessa when there's a hen leaps behind you. You just use him as a jumping rope to get behind him. As nothing else happening there, but it will be extra plate for ZDZ having a very good performance on the Zhen top lane.
And 3 grubs now go to EDG, so they continue to have this little bit of a buffer for themselves here. About 1,000 gold up. Parukia will get engaged on by Zhuo, but everybody has ultimates available, and next thing on the docket is this dragon. I mean, this is 10 minutes in, and we haven't had a single dragon taken. You can tell some of the reservation both teams are having, but again, the ball is in NIP's court here. EDG are chilling.
Malphite has ultimate up again in 3. This is what you get the Zeke's convergence for, is to force plays repeatedly early on. Your utility as the Malphite does wear off.
Oh, they got a catch out on Care. It got so much damage done. It gets just booted straight back to Angel, but Angel gets locked down. The Petrifying Gaze buying so much time, and Killer Instinct from Assum comes over the top, and that's going to be a quick couple kills going to NIP, baby. All that gold lead for nothing for EDG.
And Care played that fight so well after the initial chain CC. Instead of backing off, chains himself back in and slithers through that fight to pick up the kills with some excellent execution. And Guwon recognizing, I am Malphite, I must go in. As soon as that ultimate is available, fishing for the play mid lane. And it started off looking pretty scary for NIP. Zhuo doing a good job keeping his mid laner safe from the enemy support as Parukia nearly gets the insect straight away. It would have been enough time for Care to get popped. But Xiaohao not having flash from the previous play gives enough time for NIP to converge and truly buy themselves back into this game in a really big way. We have the first dragon down. It is a ocean dragon up in 4 minutes, which means we have got a really good soul coming up on the scale of things. Pretty much anything left bar an infernal soul is going to be game warping.
And just an incredible moment there from Care to survive, and a couple head scratches for EDG to pull the trigger on a play like that with no vision. Realizing their entire team might be there. Grim Deliverance this time not going to be publicly executed out of, and now a dive is coming Hoya's way. Even though that passive is starting to tick down for ZDZ, they've got 3 members up here, and Hoya going to try to use the public execution now, but just gets locked down, taken down. Xiaohao expertly tanking the turret, and these plates will start to fall too. The 3 grubs coming in clutch.
And even off the back of that mid lane play, I would still say that the solo lanes of EDG are definitely winning. There's a small gold lead over to Care, but the impact that Angel has had across the map has been really difficult to match and has eaten up a lot of time from NIP's squad to just try and mitigate it. It's a disaster waiting to happen now with grubs in the pockets of 2 scary side laners. Considering this Cassio is generally considered to be a pretty hard counterpick to Rise, Angel has been navigating the lane expertly to get to this point, and even with that bit of a head scratcher play from a few minutes ago, I don't know, I think that they've got a really promising chance for EDG to play a 1-3-1 comp out here, and if they can execute on it, I don't think NIP have great answers to go back in, but it will be a second Zeke's picked up to force that ticket with the Malphite again.
That's actually so funny. So much Zeke's convergence coming through. But, yeah, I mean, maybe it shows off, and we can highlight that mid lane matchup a little bit more. I mean, Care having a really nice play to kick off this game number 2. Not very nice in game number 1, at least. Had a couple big moments. But Angel showing some of that veterancy here, it feels like. And honestly, a reason why EDG wanted to keep him around. It's nice to see a little bit of that experience come into a fold here, but we've got first item spikes already here, very close to second item for a couple members, specifically the AD carries. The gold lead, besides top lane, very close. Double ultimates, and you just can't survive that any day of the week. Leave goes down.
Incredible gold injection with the finishing of the quest at the same moment. That was a 680 gold pop-up for Assum as
Oh, nice
that
flash. That's a really clutch flash from Guwon.
That essential. Dead otherwise. And you know what? Instant swap over to the teleport. So the Malphite's tempo on the map will not be slowed down. I think as we look towards how this game is likely to progress, I'm favouring EDG and the scaling pretty much across the board, with the one exception being the Ryze Cassio side lane. There's a point where the Cassio becomes so ridiculous that Ryze really does just struggle to exist in the side lane, but so far, Angel has been navigating it beautifully. As far as the actual champion scaling goes though, Mundo walks over Malphite in the late game. Civ and Kai'Sa, they're kind of even head to head. I would say the Kai'Sa does a bit better off, especially with the option of 6 items. But that doesn't really matter when your main engage tools don't do as much. The Rakan has a propensity to kind of get exploded, and Guwon going for what I like to classify as the modern budget build. If he builds the Bandle Pipes next, this is truly one of the cheapest and most effective builds you could get, but it does not do much once you get past 4 items.
Yeah, and we do see Rift Herald going the way of EDG, so they've been really good about taking those top side objectives so far. Let's see if that continues on into the Baron, I guess, as time goes on here. We're going to see a little bit of a setup on bot side, but pretty calm state of things as we move forward in this moment. And I really do want to highlight that setup when you're talking about that scaling. Like, is this lead enough in this top side to detract from what NIP want to do? I mean, we've got Dragon about 15 seconds. ZDZ, if he's involved in this, can make a massive difference for EDG.
And that's the ticket. Can you get stuff done when ZDZ isn't there? Really nice start. It's going to be enough. Force the Alistar away. Doesn't have the spellbook, so he can't teleport back into this play. Now, you must seize the moment, NIP. You must start this Dragon, or at very least, find a secondary pick and keep this cycle going where EDG is left in awkward spot after awkward spot.
Leave beautifully spell shields the initial ult, but it doesn't matter. When all the CC is there, it does not matter. Here comes ZDZ, though. He's trying to make a difference. He's just getting immediately taken down. No passive, and he's down before the Grim Deliverance even does what it needs to. That's 2 quick picks from NIP, and straight to the Dragon they go.
Yeah, keeping the miasma in the pocket there, so important to hold off the Zehen, just stopping those abilities who, considering they were surrounded by 5 people, would have stacked up that passive very quickly. I don't think this Herald even gets to charge. Wow, really good stuff from NIP to mute that topside objective that EDG put so much effort into securing.
And that's immediately how you turn the game on its head, and again, you said it in draft, I feel like, as well. Leave just not going to have a good time. Any of those setups are going to get him 100 to 0 there. You could see even beautifully spell shielding that initial ult. Doesn't matter. The follow-up is just too damn good.
I can't tell if Guwon smited a minion or just smited early there, because he definitely tried to do the smite away the spell shield. Either way, still same result, and here we go. It's the miasma into perfect execution chain that keeps ZDZ down. Nearly gets off a bit more after the Grim Deliverance, but he's just, all said and done, too much to handle at the start of it. So now, we find ourselves with an actual gold lead established. Small plays happening, but nothing too substantial. 2 dragons in the pocket of NIP, but they were late dragons. It was about 10 minutes before the first dragon was even focused down. So if you want to use the Cloud Soul as a win con, which, with a Kai'Sa, with a Rakan, with an Ambessa, even a Cassio, all absolutely adore having a Cloud Soul. The extra movement speed can be essential in this game and make a massive difference.
Yeah.
But I was alluding to that. Malphite does fall off. And 10 minutes from now, I think 3rd, 4th items are going to start being looked at, particularly from the ADCs.
Oh, Angel, I think he realizes the problem he's put himself in. Anytime you see Guwon, you know what's coming afterwards, and it is death. As they're going to try to get a flash play on a Care here. He's going to get a lot of damage down, but the beautiful stutter step with the Grim Deliverance, and that'll be a big kill for ZDZ.
Very nicely done, and also gets the Cassio flash. I don't know if that was the best play from Care to burn that one, or to just accept the death, thought there was an angle to escape. But now we do have a very vulnerable Cassiopeia in the side lane. Both mid laners, funnily enough, in the death chamber at the same time.
But Angel's got his flash. He held it.
Yeah, and I think that will make the difference, particularly with the Baron spawning in 40 seconds. Keeping yourselves alive in the side lane.
Jesus Christ. Disgusting.
You're not used
I
to the
watched
Crystalline
Xiaohao
overgrowth?
kill a turret in 3 auto attacks last night. It was insane.
Yeah, that's pretty yucky. That's
2.6k lead will do that.
Yeah.
You know, it's almost 60 CS up. And I really think that this Zion, yes, we didn't see a great entrance from ZDZ in that last fight, but I really think this is going to be the backbreaker for NIP. Like, if they can continue to deal with ZDZ in these fights and full focus him, things go a lot better for them. But as soon as he gets unleashed, as soon as he gets a reset with his passive, gets the big Grim Deliverance, I think this is going to be a tough fight to handle for NIP.
Well, I think in that case we need to look at the itemization, picking up what he's got right now. That is either going into a GA or into a Death Stance. I think once CDZ finishes that, then we're talking. Until then, you could just get wombo comboed by NIP, and we saw what happened once. I think the same thing would happen again if ZDZ rocks up to another fight, but once he has either of those delay items, I think then it gets a bit more scary for NIP, because the extra time it takes to kill the Zehen means in the meantime, Mundo is full healing off a Vault, Rise and Sivir are tearing through you, so it's going to require NIP to be a lot smarter with their engages as it goes on. We do have Guwon. I personally call this the curse technology, but he is no smite in the jungle. He has flash exhaust right now. You need to get a play off sooner rather than later whenever you do this, because it has the one risk that if the enemy team is really cognizant of it, you could just start an objective, and as long as nobody lets Malphite get in melee range, he can't smite. And when you use exhaust, there's like a 1.5 second cooldown where you can't smite, so...
And Dragon's coming up, too. That's the whole point.
NIP, gotta force something quick.
That's crazy, man. All right. Well, I see you, Guwon. See what you got. As I see a couple stats there. EDG, I think they now see it. As long as they tabbed, they will see that he has those two. So they're going to push forward with a little bit of confidence. They already have ZDZ on the bot side of the fight as well.
And I think that... Okay, good. NIP trying something. Ultimate down.
Okay. That's a pretty big ultimate down. That's the kind of combo that Guwon and Zhuo have been pulling off on Leave. Now Leave can play a little bit more freely. Uh-oh.
Still not going to use the exhaust. This is very dangerous now for NIP to fight in the river.
Oh no, they got the catch out over here with the Petrifying Gaze. Assum goes over to try to get the kill, and CDC with all of that gold is just down. EDG are scattered to the wind. They will get 2 out at least with a Realm War from Angel, but the execution is really tough to watch from EDG right now. If they have such a massive lead for ZDZ Zion, but he keeps getting picked.
And I equally have to give the respect over to NIP. Excellent threat recognition. Knowing we can't fight this objective, or start the objective, better said, we need to fight around it. And even without the Rakan ultimate, I'm excited to see this replay, because ZDZ looked like he had a very scary flank, and just watch the fact that it's a Cassiopeia you're trying to run into. And what did we say in the draft? Cassiopeia loves it when you run at her. You know what she loves it even more? When you have to run away from her. And Assum coming in to collect the kill. And I think the fact that he walks back onto the miasma thinking it should have expired by that point means no Grim Deliverance, means dead Zehen. Leave then has to be the recipient of the Malphite into exhaust wombo combo. You don't get to play button, as NIP get a bit of revenge for how much damage Leave did to their mental last game.
Yeah, and didn't even need the smite for the dragon. You love to see it. I guess it didn't matter. Now they still have about a 2,000 gold lead. Again, there's still some fluctuations here, but Assum is now almost 3,000 gold. And I just keep coming back to the fact that you got to do something about LPL Kai'Sa. It feels like every ADC in this entire league can pop the hell off on this champion, and there's just been no answer.
And we are blessed for that. We are truly, truly blessed for that, as now we are left in a strange position where NIP have a lead, a pretty decisive one. Soul point up soon. Parukia is going to be able to get away off the back of the phase rush, but force onto the Mundo. Will we find a kill here? That could be Baron if he dies.
Double CC chain. He's going to get melted by Assum. He gets a little bit of healing back. They try to get Assum back on it, but Leave can do nothing. He's literally trying to auto-tag. He gets nothing done. ZDZ finally comes into the fight, but look, they all turn to focus him. Grim Deliverance onto 3 members. He's going to get a lot, but he's not going to get his passive back. My God, just send it to bed right now. NIP going to 3 games.
Care carrying that fight. Assum does the setup and Care knocks it down, doing everything that was needed to win out what could have been a massive game throw. Right in front of the Baron, though, EDG will fall. NIP will secure this and put themselves into what should be a winning position for the game, bringing this into a real series now. They're not going to do the wait around to trade over and give the Kai'Sa the Baron buff, but this all started off with a pick onto Xiaohao, which he then is Mundo. Does get to walk away despite having that giant sled passive.
This positioning from EDG is insane.
I love the collapse attempt here, but watch Care and watch ZDZ. I'm pretty certain we get to see big stun as soon as the Grim Deliverance ends, and then pop, 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 execution, done.
That feels so bad. And again, I love that you give props to NIP, but I gotta say, it just EDG are just looking so lost in a lot of these. Like, it feels like they have such power and then they just throw it all away. But honestly, it's up to NIP to pick that up and run with it. And I love that you mentioned kind of Care, but also that combination with Assum, and more importantly, the strategical refocus to away from Guwon with these carries and focus on him delivering for the rest of his team.
Considering this is a meta where we really don't have a lot of tanks in the jungle, seeing 2 of the premier ones come out right now, and Guwon piloting into a counter pick, mind you, very well so far. He has had a big impact, and I would say he gets the Zeke's license, because when you go this item on the... Hold on, I'll wait.
They're going to try to get Care here. They're going to knock it back, but they can't get him. The damage is done. Okay. Okay. ZDZ's not going to activate his passive a single time this entire game, as everybody else from EDG is just going to get ran down into the dirt. Another double kill comes across. Angel can't even get a kill back. That's going to be a triple kill for Assum. Straight down the mid lane and straight into game 3 for NIP's first series.
I'm going to say that's a very solemn way to end the game. When we think back to the last series these two played in the Demacia Cup, it was a strained 3-game series with a lot of back and forth hitting. And funnily enough, it was in the second game, Assum, on a Corki in that instance, doing the main carrying to get them through to a second game, with Guwon on a utility champion, the Nocturne, getting a lot done. And we're seeing a mirror image of that here now.
I mean, it's a 9,000 gold lead, 27.5 minutes in, and Dragon coming up now will be Cloud Soul for NIP. They're playing very reserved just to make sure they can finish this game out, but all pings, all focus on this Dragon.
And you don't even need the objective, you just need a fight. If EDG walk up to contest this, which it's a soul, most teams do try and contest it, then you're happy. You can just win the game off of getting a pick and a half there. But I think this is correct. This is a Dragon you sacrifice. You don't go in there. If you die, it's dusted. So we now get NIP collapsing, going to collect the free tower left here. It's just a question for EDG of where do they call their final fight? Where do they think they can get beneficial terrain? Leave, stuck, only 2 items right now, hasn't been able to push over into his third. He's waiting in the fountain right now. I don't know if he's going to have the gold to get it before this siege turns into a fight.
Scaling was not enough for a second time in a row. Both teams trading positions in that fact for this game 1, game 2, but it's all down to a base defense now for EDG. Hoya's feeling a little feisty. Here comes Assum over the top as well. The top rope is singing right now. They do get the lockdown straight onto Assum, but he's still alive, still kicking, still alive, still going. My God! Jesus, this guy just keeps popping off on the Kai'Sa. He's bringing Angel's memory back to those Suning days when they played together back in 2020, 2021. And that is going to be NIP getting us all the way to a third game for this first time on the day.
When we came into today, we had no idea what to expect from NIP. And I'll be honest, as we finished game 2, we have no idea what to expect from NIP. That was 2 polar different games. We went to the North and the South Pole back to back, and EDG, they clearly got a bit of jet lag coming into that second game off the back of the trip because, yeah, I mean, Leave wasn't allowed to play the game. Excellent draft adaptation from NIP. Xiaohao wasn't the big defining force on the map this Mundo. It's fine as a scaling pick, but it kind of requires you to have a slower early game, and NIP, Guwon, basically just did exactly what Xiaohao did, but on the other way around.
It's literally just bully bot lane. This is the state of League of Legends right now. Whoever bullies bot lane hardest wins the game, I guess. But again, it goes back to that strategical focus that I find interesting is that, again, the resources were away from Guwon, and all of a sudden, everything just starts locking into place like crazy.
Yeah, I think that they really pulled together a comp that was so cohesive and understood what they needed to do. That was the bigger thing, because when you're against the Spell Shield with full engage and against a Sivir nonetheless, even a Ryze as well, these are champions that are scary to run into, but Assum's ability to know when it was safe to engage with his tanks versus when it was better to just DPS from the same side as Care made it so difficult for EDG to play these fights. ZDZ never got to have a good time as a hen in the team fights, and that was mainly off the back of the NIP carries being just out of reach perpetually.
That does some not great angles. He took me, yes, I agree.
Kennen might have worked better in those angles, but
he had almost a 3,000 goal lead, and he didn't get his passive off a single time in that entire game. Like, ZDZ, we're gonna have to have a talk at some point. That champion is busted, and you did a great job of making it not look so. But it really is, you know, speaking to the high regard of NIP and the fact that they were able to kind of shift their mental from that game number 1, a devastating loss. Like, Assum came out and smashed Leave. I mean, Leave was 0-5 in this game, and the Kai'Sa needed to go back to comfort. It worked.
And I think complete pivot of the draft, even if you think there's legs in what they did in the first game, which I personally believe there were, I think that this was a really good idea just to do the thing of players talk about it a bit behind the scenes of coaches will, my fault, bad draft, like, whatever, we go next game. And it's a really easy way to reset the mental of, like, what was I supposed to do? Assum did 4 times Leaves damage that game. That's crazy. Yeah. That is insane.
Yeah. Dr. Mundo did more damage than Leave in that game. Like, what the hell, man?
That's what happens. Like, the hit squad was after him.
96 KP, almost 40% damage done from his team for Assum. And this is not like a new out of nowhere carry. I literally talked about it. Like, he was back on Suning in 2020 with Angel. And this guy's not had the best track record. You know, he spent a little bit of time on that FPX team last year as well. But that FPX team had some troubles themselves. And here in this one, it just all lines up for him. And he shows off what is possible for this NIP team.
Yeah, and there's a lot of Kai'Sa games where you can watch it and go, yeah, your tanks played really well. This is a game where I watch it and go, yeah, Kai'Sa played really well. And, okay, yeah, no, that was... I'm really glad we got the confirmation, but Assum just did such a good job of knowing exactly where to stand in these fights, and along with Care, again, I will give credit to both of these two, they're playing dangerous carries, is the way I put them. Can pump out a lot of damage, but can die at the slightest breeze if they misstep. Basically none of those instances throughout the game. Maybe a side lane whoopsie or two for Care, but outside that, in the big team fights like this, they just were the better performers every single time.
And we see walking down memory lane here, NIP constantly looking for picks, constantly using this length of engage that they had over and over again to find big picks and outposition EDG in a lot of these fights. So it just still begs the question of what we get in game number 3. A lot of these bans coming to a fold, a lot of the setup around some of these niche picks are not going to be available yet again, and I'm just very curious. So far though, maybe pick your brain about a little bit more before we get to MVP, but red side seems pretty damn good. Like,
yeah, teams have been working quite well around not just this Malphite first pick is one of the big things, but making sure that top lane counter pick isn't that bad. Because at the end of the day, Hoya was getting mullered in the lane phase. Like, there was a reason ZDZ had as much of a gold lead as he did. But considering how strong that role should be, I think NIP did an exceptional job of just completely muting him for this game. Got such a big lead elsewhere.
What is Leave supposed to... There is
Nothing.
no world
this isn't
that
Leave's
Leave
fault.
gets to play this game. Like, it's
cooked.
just... Like, I don't know, maybe I'm an ADC soapbox here, but, like, the fact that an entire role doesn't get to play the game the entire game, like, that should not happen. Even if you draft fully into it, like, I feel like there should be some counterplay there, but unfortunately for Leave, he drew the short stick.
As a jungler, I disagree.
Well,
but no. But in all seriousness, that was ZDZ's game to carry, and he didn't pick up the ball. Very deserved MVP after picking that one up. I think that this proves very good for NIP. And now, having had a full scaling comp in Game 1, a full dive comp in Game 2, I can't wait to see whatever on earth NIP has ready for Game 3.
we're going to get both of them scaling, and we're going to go 65 minutes, and it's going to be just this slaughter at the end. I can't wait for the chaos. I can't wait for more LPL, and I can't wait for more EDG versus NIP. We'll have Game 3 after this.